Hey YouTube, what's up? And welcome back to another little episode here at VGF Tech. With me, of course, Sneeze Mazda 07, aka Vintage Game Finder. What you see there, obviously, is NES, classic NES console from back in the day. My cousin is starting to get into the hobby of retro video game collecting, and he happened to come across this Nintendo. It was a lot dirtier than what you see there. I cleaned it up a little bit, and I also went ahead and cleaned up the 72-pin connector, which unfortunately I wasn't able to get footage of because it's kind of hard to do that and take care of my kids at the same time. So I had to decide on one or the other, unfortunately. But I boiled it. I did the boil method on the 72-pin connector as well as the alcohol and the toothbrush method, and this is the result I got so far when I put everything back together. The same blinking light that I got initially when I received the console before the cleanup. So that only leads me to believe that the next issue that I need to resolve is the lockout chip on the NES itself. Some of you may know what the lockout chip is and what it's about. Some of you may not know what it is and what it's about. And that's kind of the focus on this video here, is taking that apart, getting to that location, showing you where the location is, showing you what you need to do to get rid of that light. So let's go ahead and start doing that. I will be using, so far in the process, I will be using my Phillips head screwdriver. And we're going to go ahead and open this up and go from there. Alright, next up what we're doing is we're going to find out the location of these screws to get the console off. The bottom half from the top half, of course. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So let's go ahead and take those out and see where we are at that point. Alright, now that we got those 6 Phillips head screws off, okay, we're going to go ahead and take off the top half. And we're still not anywhere near to where we need to get to that chip. So it's priority now for you to separate your screws to where they go. In this case, the screws to the case, excuse me, I'm going to keep on the top half of the NES to keep them together, because they do, as far as length and the diameter of the head of the Phillips head, they are similar except for the two after the heat shield. When I take this heat shield off, you'll see it. So that's our next area to take off, is the heat shield. Let's go ahead and do that. So that ended up being a total of 6. So well, there goes the heat shield. Okay, next we're going to go ahead and take these screws off here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You notice the difference here between this one and this one. You want to go ahead and remember that when you're putting it back together, okay, because if you get one mixed with the other, you're going to cross thread, and that's not something you're going to want to do. So remember the location of where these 2 silver Phillips head screws go in relation to the other ones. Let's go ahead and take that out now. Okay, goes there. That goes there. We got that off. Now gently lift it up a little bit and pull. And that should get your loading tray right off of where your 72 pin connector is on the console, and where we need to go is on the bottom of this, on this board here. So that means more screws to take out, which is awesome. So I'll go ahead and put these screws that went with this, I'll go ahead and put them over here in the order that I took them out, more or less. Just here and here. And let's see what the next set of screws is. So you got loose here, but not so loose here in this area. So I already see one Phillip head screw and the other Phillip head screw. Hopefully you can see that. Right there in this area. So let's go ahead and take those screws out, and that should help us get where we need to go. Now I'm gonna see if I could get to that area without taking these wires out, but guess what? No, you can't, because you gotta take out another heat shield here at the bottom. So the only way to do that is to detach these cables. But the cool thing about that is there's only one way they mate with another cable in the first place. So that's really a foolproof way of not putting it where it's not supposed to be when you're reassembling everything. So let's go ahead and do that. Alright, let's see. This one here. If you don't have any nails to grip it with when you take it out, I would suggest a really fine point flathead screwdriver, or maybe even a mini driver, or like a mini punch. But if you use the punch, you got to be extra careful that you don't apply too much pressure and sever one of these wires here. Let's go with this blue one here. Pull it out. Yeah. That one out. And this one. Boom. Okay. So now we can set this aside. But of course, putting these here so you don't lose them. Losing screws is not fun, folks, believe me. I tend to learn things the hard way, so do not lose that. Okay, let's see if we can take this off now. Okay, this is your motherboard for the NES. Now we just need to find out which one of these we need to mess with so we can eliminate that blinking red light. And you want to go, see where U10CIC, okay, right here, and you want to count from the left, okay? Count from the left. 1, 2, 3, 4. That fourth pin, you got to sever that from the board completely, okay? You go ahead and do that, and that's basically the lockout chip. And from what my understanding is on the lockout chip, please feel free to correct me if I'm wrong in the comment section, is this taking this out, this pin out of the chip, or whatever the hell you want to call it, you take that out, and that not only eliminates that the flashing red light on the NES console, which is it's a famous defect on the console, unfortunately, but you remedy that problem, as well as you get an added benefit to that, which is you go ahead and play some, if not all, import titles. I may be wrong, but I'm pretty sure you could play a lot of European titles, or PAL titles, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, you count from the left, and make sure that you count 1 from the left. 1, 2, 3, 4. That one right there, we have to destroy that. Okay, so that's what we're gonna do right now. Now I could try it with this awl here, which is what I'm gonna do. But if not, I have a really small tip flathead screwdriver here that I'm gonna probably use as well. So you can use that, and you can use an awl if you want as well. But just be careful that while you're trying to take that out, you don't do one swift swipe and destroy something you're not supposed to in the process. So if you're good at Operation, which is a board game from back in the day, I see you not having too many problems with this. Okay. Let's go ahead and do this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Move you out of the way. Just trying to find a good spot. Go ahead and get this out of the way here. And obviously that's not going to work. So there we go. This ended up working. So I got it detached, and just slowly and methodically just find another point to try to pry it out of the chip here, ever so gently, without unnecessarily damaging anything you're not supposed to. So you can see I got it out, but it's still hanging on. So what I need to do now is just, you know, bring it back to forth, just let it sway a little by little until you can get that completely out of there, which is what I'm going to try to do now. I mean, this is me just being fancy with it at this point. I mean, I don't see you having to do this, but I really don't want this here at all anymore. So we keep bringing it up, keep bringing it down, keep bringing it up, bringing it down until it gets loose enough that it falls off by itself, which is what I want. And look, it's getting looser. There it is, folks. That little piece of crap right there is the reason why it was blinking. So with that taken out, we'll take one final look here before we put everything back the way it was. We just want to make sure there's no contact with the chip and the board anymore. And that's fine to me. I mean, you probably can't get a really good visual of it, but let me see. I hate this viewpoint here. Is that one, the fourth to the left. Do not forget. Okay? Now all we have to do is reassemble and go ahead and put the power to it and see what happens then. Now just double check. Don't want to over tighten. But you want to make sure they're in there for sure. So. This one here. Alright, let's test that tray out again. Alright, now for the moment of truth. Let's see. Pray for the best here, folks. Now, like I said before, the only solution I have now, if it wasn't that lockout chip, and if it wasn't this individual 72-pin connector, then we have to take that 72-pin connector out and get a refurbished unit off of Amazon like I did. You could go to eBay, or you could go to some NES specific sites and they could probably hook you up with some refurbished units as well. But from the time that I bought mine, I think the price range is between $5 to $10 for a refurbished 72 pin connector. And between me buying one of those and then doing that lockout chip, no problem at all. But let's see what happens with this. Power's on. Here we go, guys. Is it blinking? No. Now, try it again. Not blinking. Awesome. Now, you're gonna say, it's not blinking, but you don't have it hooked up to a TV and you don't have a game on it. For us to know for sure that that's what it was. That we'll be doing next. So do not worry. I'm gonna clean all this shit up, and then we're gonna go test it out on the TV. Alright guys, welcome back. I got the NES hooked up. Unfortunately I couldn't find the VGA cable, so I went ahead and hooked it up with the RF switch. So the picture's gonna look a little beat up. But that's the least of my worries. I just want to make sure that I have a working NES. I put everything back together, of course. Reverse of the disassembly. And what was a blinking light is no longer a blinking light. Now I'm hoping to make sure that it actually works the way it's supposed to. So without further ado, let's go ahead and turn this NES on. Eureka! We did it! The NES is working. Seems to be running the way it's supposed to. And all it took was that little pin off of that chip, the fourth one to the left on the CIC, otherwise known as the lockout chip. It's working. If it does glitch or if it goes bad after this, the only recommendation I could give is to replace the 72 pin connector with one that's already rebuilt. And when you can go ahead and get that on Amazon, you can get it on eBay, or you can get it on any NES specific site. I want to thank you for watching. I will see you next episode.